Ecclesiastes, chapter 3. He has made everything beautiful in its time. He has also put eternity into man's heart, yet so that he cannot find out what God has done from the beginning to the end. And you walked inside the house tonight, set your keys down on the counter, stood in the center of the living room you spent a decade asking him to give you, the quiet street outside, the lease signed, the threshold crossed, the answered prayer sitting right there on the shelf, exactly where you told God you wanted it. You looked around the room, and the hunger was still there. Unchanged, patient, sitting in the corner like something that had been waiting for you to stop moving long enough to notice it. There is a particular kind of confusion that only arrives after the prayer gets answered. The geography changed. The ring is on the finger. The quiet life finally arrived. And the homesickness survived the harvest. The first thing the mind does, with a hunger it cannot explain, is call it ingratitude. You count the things you have. You list them like evidence, a roof, a voice on the other end of the phone work that pays. And when the ache still doesn't close, you begin the quiet prosecution of yourself. The verdict comes fast in your own handwriting. Something in you must be defective. There is a room in every house that no one talks about. You have a dining room. You set 4 plates on the table. The food is warm, the chairs are full, and the room feels exactly right. Now imagine there's a room in that same house that you have never been able to furnish. Not because you lack the means, because nothing you carry through the doorway holds its shape once it crosses the threshold. A job title, a Saturday with nowhere to be, the warmth of someone sleeping next to you. You bring them in, you set them down, and they sit there, perfectly good, rattling faintly against the walls like shoes in a suitcase that is far too large for them. That room was not cut to the dimensions of a career, or a marriage, or a country. The Creator carved it himself. He measured it to the exact terrifying scale of something no temporal object was ever meant to occupy. It is not a wound waiting for a bandage. It is a room holding its breath for the only guest it was ever measured for. "1,600 years ago, a man who had tried every room in the house finally sat down in the dark and wrote one sentence. The kind of sentence a man writes only after he is completely exhausted every other possible explanation. You have made us for yourself, and our hearts are restless until they rest in you. The ache is a compass needle. It does not point to what is missing in the room. It points to where the room was always meant to open. The fingerprint of God pressed firmly into the wet clay of your chest before you drew your first breath. The proof stitched into your own ribs that you were built for an entirely different sky. Like holding a photograph of someone you have never met and feeling with absolute certainty that you know that face. The ache was never meant to close. On this side of the door,
I filled the room with everything I had, set the chairs around the wooden frame, and sat among the answered prayers, and still could not remember home. The table held exactly what I asked for, and my hands were finally still, but the space behind my ribs kept humming like a room that will not close. I thought the ache would leave when the address changed, when the ring was on, when the silence felt like mine. But it sat down at the table with me, patient as a winter sky, older than the walls around me, wider than the reason why. So this is eternity, pressed into a human chest, not the absence of a thing, but the shape of what comes after, the place I have not seen yet, the air I have not breathed, the face behind the photograph I have not seen yet. But no, I am not empty, I am unfinished. A house with one room no earthly thing can fill, and the ache is not the wound, the ache is the compass, and the compass knows the way home. I am knows the way